Hey y'all, welcome to Cocktail Hour. I am Meg.
And I'm Nikki.
Now, today we're going to go a little off book. We're going to bring a little something different because I, Meg, am on a road trip. I don't know where I'm at, depending on when this airs. But a lot of you already know that Adam and I are headed out on the road for 2, possibly 3 weeks. So Nikki and I adore you all so much, and we didn't just want to be gone for 3 weeks off the pod. So we thought that we would do some fun little episodes while I'm on the road. So that is what we are doing today. And today we are bringing you wedding day ragrets,
No regrets.
from real wedding couples. And we'll kind of talk through those and if we have any tips on how to avoid. So that's where we're at. You want to kick us off?
Number one, I think, is dumb, but it just says not eating enough food. First of all, who are these from? These are curated from a creator named.
Good call.
We'll find it.
Oh, do you not have it at the top of your screenshot?
Nope, I
Okay.
cropped it.
All good in the hood. I got it. So it's at What Susan Sees Photography on the IG.
Okay, and number one is not eating enough of the food they so carefully chose, being the couple. While I agree, I also disagree and think it's dumb because the food that they so carefully chose is to feed everybody else. The couple at the end of the day is like, yeah, it's good, but what I think couples most care about is what other people think about their wedding food.
Yeah. And I wish that wasn't the case, but in the same breath, it's like, well, you might like lutefisk, but that doesn't mean everybody else likes lutefisk. So maybe you just feed them chicken and steak.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a weird fish. It's like it's a Scandinavian thing.
I'm out.
Yeah. But also I think it could have just stopped at not eating enough food.
Oh, 100%.
But some people get way too lit on
Yeah.
their wedding days, and I'm
You
like,
need to eat.
yeah.
You need to nourish that body, baby.
Yeah, even if that means putting a giant napkin like you're at a seafood boil across your chest so you don't get anything on your outfit,
Oh, yeah.
you need to still eat.
Yeah.
Okay, next is not spending enough time together. Have a signal for like, I need a break or please join me. I couldn't agree with this one more. I actually, in my 30-day meetings with every single couple, I talk to them about that. And I say, look, I don't want you to be worried on your wedding day, but I'm just trying to plant a seed that there will be times that people are trying to pull you apart, not on purpose, but you haven't seen this friend for years and you haven't seen this aunt for a decade. You're going to get pulled apart. So try to find a way to stick together. You can still talk to the same people, all that good stuff, but it's your wedding day. You want to spend time together. And also, people love those photographs of them as a couple interacting with people or being on the dance floor together. And I'm like, okay, there's nothing I can do if you won't stay together.
The dance floor thing is huge. I feel like so many couples, that's when they break. But that's actually the biggest thing I tell people is on your wedding day, because so many people ask about like, well, what do you think about a first look? Or what do you think about this? I don't care either way.
Yeah.
I want you to do what makes you happy. And if you've always envisioned walking down the aisle and that's the first time your partner sees you, great.
Yeah, do it up.
However, I do tell couples, you are going to be surrounded by hundreds of people on your wedding day if you're having a traditional wedding. You will be surrounded by hundreds of people.
Yeah.
From the moment you wake up with your bridesmaids to your makeup artist, to your photographer, to your planner, to your florist, to all of your friends, to your family, to your new mother-in-law. Like
Yep.
there are hundreds of people surrounding you all day. If you have or can take advantage of a moment alone
Oh, yeah.
with your significant other and spend time together, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Because the whole day is everybody wanting to celebrate the two of you, but at the end of the day, that's the only thing that you're there for.
Yeah, agreed. And it's really easy to do that. Like after ceremony, cocktail hour is getting started, everyone's waiting at the bar. There's a long ass line at the bar. So have your planner or a vendor or whatever cut the line, get you a couple drinks, and go away and just spend some time together.
Just relax.
We're not saying that you have to fuck, but like you could just
Get some alone time.
Yeah, just some alone time.
Okay, number 3, having too many group photos. Each one takes around 3 minutes to gather, photograph, and move on. So try to keep around 10 to avoid feeling like you're missing your day. I also couldn't agree more. I think when I shot this wedding in Mexico recently, the bride literally was like, we're never going to use this photo of our entire wedding party together. We want one.
Mm-hmm.
And we did a very informal one quick shot. And I love that. And I In my own wedding flow, I'm like, yeah, okay, let's keep it very short with like the massive group photos because what
Yeah.
is the reason?
Yeah.
You're not going to frame these. You're not going to hang these in your house with a photo with 17 people in it. Like, you're going to want the photos of you and your spouse, of you and your
Yeah.
partner, of you and your family.
Agreed.
You could have a fight with a friend and not be friends with them forever. I was a maid of honor for a girl who we're no longer friends anymore.
Maid of honor.
And
That's
I think
crazy.
about that sometimes. And I think about how I'm in all of her. I walked her kids down the aisle. That's
You're in
crazy.
everything. I don't think I was looking back at my mom's wedding photos. I don't think she's friends with a single
Mm-hmm.
person. Like, just life changes. And she's like, no, I don't speak to literally anybody anymore. I have a new set of friends or whatever the case
Yeah,
may be.
life
So,
changes. You literally just you grow.
yeah. I also feel like the massive, massive family shots.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not do
Yep.
those. I mean, to
Like
each their
extended
own.
family.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
each their own, and you're paying me. But when it's like, okay, so we're gonna get a massive shot of like 75 people, and I go, you're barely gonna be able to see faces of some of these people unless I'm provided a ladder and I'm shooting down
Yep.
like a corporate, warehouse team photo where you're all looking up at me.
I used to
I
do that
can't.
at my church retreat, our
Really?
church cult retreats at our cabin that we hosted.
Yeah.
We would pull out a ladder and I was our photographer and I would climb the ladder and everybody would be in their matching shirts or sweatshirts holding hands.
Okay, Easter egg for another
Shooting
episode then,
from-
because I did
shooting
not
from
know
above.
that you photographed before wedding photography. And in a different episode, we're going to talk about our journeys with the wedding photography or with
Yeah.
photography. So I love that. But yeah, just try to keep it nice, sweet, to the point. What are you actually going to use? What are you going to want to look back at? All that good stuff. Okay, not starting hair and makeup early enough. Sorry, makeup artists. Final hour before departure needs to be for portraits, chilling out, and enjoying the moments, not for final touch-ups that result in no time for anything else. So I do agree with starting early enough, and I do get that for hair and makeup, that means a very, very early start time for them, but also then they're out at noon.
But also that's your job.
That's true. Like, you are getting paid regardless of the time that you wake up to do it. But I'm going to take this one step further. Hair and makeup needs to start earlier, but the bride or like whoever's in the chair, who is the main head honcho of photos, I need you to not be last in the chair.
Mm-hmm.
I need you
Bride
to be in
should
the middle.
never be last.
Never.
Can't think of anything worse.
No, because if anything runs late, that means we cannot start a single thing without that main person getting married. So they need to be in the middle. And I know that it sucks of like, okay, well, they're going to have to sit in their makeup longer and they're going to have to sit in their hair. Okay, well, let's make sure it's rock solid steady because I need them ready.
Yeah.
The bridesmaids can be last. They can run late because I don't need them for hours after we start the day.
Agreed.
So yeah.
Not having a designated area or room for stuff during prep, resulting in messy backgrounds. That's a hard one. I think that's hard because it's not always possible. Yeah, it's not always a possibility to have that actual setup depending on your venue or where you're getting ready. Like, it's not always realistic. So I think as photographers, we are the ones who actually have to be a little bit more creative and utilize our creativity in that sense. But I mean, do I tell couples ahead of time, like, hey, if there is space in the suite where you can push all the bags to one side, let's try to do that. And I tell them that a month before their actual wedding day, where we're having our last meeting, talking about their timeline. I'm like, listen, if you don't want all this stuff in the background, let's move it. However, we can work with other stuff. You might just not be in your getting ready room when you're having your getting ready photos if it looks like a tornado ran through it.
Agreed. 100%. And sometimes I guess a question I have, and I think about this a lot, and maybe I should ask my friends who are planners and day of coordinators, is where does that kind of kick in from like a day of coordinator of helping manage the spaces and helping like, hey girls, okay, let's shift everything to the side.
Never really seen it.
I don't think I have either. And that's not to say that it's their job, but I do. Sometimes I wonder the coordination, if we have day of coordination, but the only thing they're doing, not the only, but their thing that they're doing from start to ceremony is setting up ceremony space and reception space. I go, okay, does anybody though coordinate the actual day, or are we just setting up? Because at that point, I feel like they are rental staff. They're like their staff setting everything up. But I go, okay, who's moving the day forward? And it obviously ends up being the photographer, which is totally fine. I don't mind that. Or coordinating or gathering people like that. All I am no longer just shooting a wedding. I am like
fully assembling and, carrying out
tracking people
everything throughout the
down,
day.
all
Yeah.
that good stuff, which again, it just kind of is the norm at this point, but I wonder if that's ever not been the norm.
Interesting. Good
Agreed.
point.
Okay, number 6, not practicing vows or speeches and using phones to read them instead of pen and paper. I couldn't agree more with the phone thing. And if I haven't sent you one, it's either coming or I'm really sorry that it didn't get to you. But in my welcome packages or my thank you packages, I have vow books because I do not want to see you reading your vows off your cell phone. It drives me nuts. I don't love it for speeches either, but I feel like that's harder to
Way harder.
manage. But you should probably practice things. The vows maybe I think are really nice in the moment. That's very genuine when you're reading them for the first time. But speeches, I would have your people practice those.
And if you have bad penmanship, print it out.
Yeah.
Send it as an email to yourself if it's on your phone. Print it out, cut it out, and paste it into your vow book. Like,
Yeah.
you got glue. There's Elmer's at Target. You can make it work. For speeches, I really don't care. I don't think it matters whatsoever. I'm like, again, nobody's going to be framing this shit on their
True.
fucking wall. Who cares if you have your Apple iPhone or your, shitty Android out? No offense to Android users. Don't cancel me.
All offense to Android users.
But I just, for speeches, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Also, I want to say, I think private vows, I love a private vow moment. And what I've seen recently in the past year is couples doing their private vows, but then also rereading them a second time at the altar. So like
or
having
a
the
pared down
opportunity.
version of
Yes.
those is cool too.
So having the opportunity to just kind of have that moment between the two of you, but then you've already read it, you've already gotten your jitters out of the way, the majority of your crying is done when you read it, just the two of you, and then you can still share the moment and the sentiment with your friends and family at the ceremony. I think that's cool.
Agreed.
Number 7, worrying about everything. The imperfect moments are going to be some of your favorite anecdotes and photos.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I will, and I just said this to one of my brides that I met with last night. I said, if you have fun, everyone will have fun. Your energy, like everyone will feel your energy.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're hella stressed and angry about every little thing, everyone's going to be on edge.
Including your vendors.
Yeah.
Everyone. Literally.
Yeah. So just have a good time. Don't sweat the small stuff because no matter what happens is what's going to happen.
Yeah. You can't change anything at that point.
In that moment, you can't.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, missing cocktail hour for portraits. Instead, have intervals of newlywed photos taken throughout the day so you can enjoy your guests. Plus, this means you get photos together in different lighting and locations and moods. So, I actually saw something really interesting, and it has me thinking. Shout out at Micah Cook, who is a phenomenal photographer, and he had posted a reel the other day that he has really been implementing little chunks of portraits, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, like randomly throughout the day instead of holding the couple for a straight 50 to 60 minutes for
like
portraits. And I thought that was really cool because like you said, or like this post said, you're getting different locations, different lighting, things like that. So yes, maybe you really focus on those traditional shots, like the first 10 minutes you take them, because what if it starts raining or whatever? Like you want to make sure you get a chunk of solid photos. What? I'm so curious of what she's giggling about.
You don't want to know. I've been thinking about this for the last 2 minutes.
No, now I do. We have to tell the people.
No, you're going to cut this out. I was going to ask you if you farted because it smelled like rotten eggs in here all of a sudden.
I didn't.
And I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I was just like, oh my God, did Meg fucking fart under that blanket?
Know.
Because I can't. I'm like trying to listen to what you're saying. And
Is it like a sulfur thing? I'm not cutting this, by the way, because I think this is fucking hilarious. I would totally tell you if I did.
I know you would.
Because I took my shot last night.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
So but no, unless it's coming out and I'm not even noticing.
It honestly, I might have slipped one and I'm like, oh.
There you go.
Shocker, surprise.
What smells so bad? Do I have to who smelt it, dealt it you right now? But I'm not cutting that out. I think our listeners enjoy the fact that we're fucking insane.
Oh God. And you would really know. I'm not gonna lie to you. We were at the social suite the other night, Monday, moving stuff in, and we were all famished. So we went to go get Costco pizza. I think just out of pure excitement, I ate 3 slices. Huge. You know, Costco pizzas are huge. Have you had one?
Well, I've had Costco. I've like had Kirkland, the frozen pizza. They have
No,
fresh
like
pizza
the
or
fresh
like
pizza, the
I didn't
freshly made
I
pizzas.
didn't know they had that.
They're big pizzas and their slices are big. And I
Yeah.
think just out of pure excitement, I ate 3 slices of pure cheese pizza as a lactose intolerant IBS person
Crackhead.
so quickly. Immediately, I looked at Craig and I was like, we have to go. We have no running water in this face yet. I was like, I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna puke, vomit, and poop.
Yeah,
Like
like
I
I have
was
a problem.
sickly. And he looked at me and he was like, oh yeah, yep, I know that look. And I was like, yeah,
Of
I'm not
pure
okay. I'm
desperation.
of fear.
Oh yeah.
It was I was so uncomfortable and we were putting together chairs and I felt so bad. I was like, sorry guys,
Yeah. I
gotta go.
Yeah. Because I can't even toot without
Oh no.
possibly.
It was really scary.
Yeah.
I was worried for my life.
I get it. I get it.
So anyway, sorry for that quick interruption.
That's okay. Shout out Mika Cook. He's
Way to go. We love your process.
We love your process. He's
We'll
gonna
be
listen
trying
to this and be
it.
like, "What a psycho." But I do like the idea. The main part of this one was missing cocktail hour for portraits. I don't love that. Now, it's your wedding day. You do what you want.
Yeah, if that's
but
what the
to
couple
me,
wants.
cocktail hour is kind of some of the most fun that you can have. Just shooting the shit with your people, having some cocktails, some apps. Like, I think that's a really fun time of the day that I would love couples to be a part of. But that's up to them. If they want to, do portraits throughout the entire cocktail hour because maybe they didn't do a first look, so everything's got to be after the ceremony, fine. Do you.
And I don't love that.
Don't love it. But, you paid for everything. So.
Here's what I tell my couples. Cocktail hour is the first time you actually get to interact with your friends and family. It's the first time. They're there for the ceremony. They can see you, but they're not talking to you. They're not hugging you. They're watching you, do your procession. They're watching you do your vows and your ring exchange, your first kiss, walking back down the aisle for the recessional, and then you disappear if you're going out to do portraits and they're anxiously awaiting to see you. Granted, you are not there to serve your guests in any capacity, but if you are somebody who values like interactions and moments and having that time with the people that you invited to your wedding, especially if you like actually love them and care about them and they're not just like coworkers or strangers, then that is a really important special time. Because if you go straight into portraits and then you miss cocktail hour and then you go into grand entrance, everybody's already seated. You go into dinner. You don't have the opportunity to stop and say hi to people. I've seen people go like table to table and greet their guests, but you're really missing the more kind of casual, laid back, candid interactions of things. Yeah. Whereas going around during dinner is a little bit more formal and you're like,
and you're kind of on a time limit.
Exactly. Because then there's stuff going on. You got to greet all these people, eat your own food again, like point number 1 said, and then go right into the dances and the speeches and all of that stuff. So cocktail hour really is the greatest time to have that like very casual, candid, like emotion-filled time to hug the people who love you and are there to support you.
And one caveat I'd say from this is, for instance, if you have a church wedding and it's like a 2 p.m. ceremony, and then after the ceremony you take 2 hours to do all the portraits because your first look was down the aisle, because it's so early. Then you do your portraits and your guests are off to kind of do their own thing, and cocktail hour doesn't start till 5.
Totally different.
Like, cool. That's totally fine. But yeah, we hate to see you miss cocktail hour. But also, if you don't give a shit about cocktail hour,
then we don't either.
Then we don't either. Yeah.
Whatever you want. Not writing personal vows to each other. Even if you don't want to read them during the ceremony, you could during your newlywed photos and have a beautiful moment together privately, which we already talked about.
Yeah.
Agreed entirely. But again, like not everybody is an emotional person. Like some people, I don't know, I've met some people who just aren't like that, and I'm assuming their lives work out. Yeah. Sure.
They're not like horrible people.
No, and like who are we to judge? We don't know. Just because we're psychotic and cry at everything and like, could write 18 pages of vows to our significant other doesn't mean that everybody's like that. Some
Yeah.
people just aren't.
Yeah.
And what if they want to read vows, the morning of with nobody
With
around?
no one there. Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
Like, or just not at all. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I just had a couple come to me and say like, hey, we're just wondering if you can tell us, like, is this a dumb idea? Would this be okay? We really just don't love the idea of reading these private vows, like when hair and makeup's done and in our outfits and like
Yeah.
all this stuff, like we're going to be blubbering and whatnot. Can we go to a coffee shop the morning, like very, very early morning
I've
of
seen
our
that on
wedding day?
TikTok.
Yeah. And read them together. We would love for you to like photograph it. And then we go to the venue and start getting ready. And I'm
Yeah.
like, absolutely. Whatever you want to
want,
do
yeah.
literally is what you can do.
I think that's the best.
Last one says not hiring a videographer, and it says the magic of a video is different than the magic of photos. It just is. So I do agree to this at a certain extent. I don't, and again, it's everybody's personal vibe. And Nikki and I, we're gonna call it bad behavior. I love to have confrontation with a stranger, but what we are also going to do is call out when things are so subjective.
Mhm.
There's not a right or wrong answer here. And for me, my vibe for wedding videography is not like this big grand 10-minute film with
Cinematic
cinematic
effect.
drone
Yeah,
and
yeah.
slow motion and stuff. I love a nitty gritty Super 8
Me too.
VHS. Like shout out Courtney Ray.
Like raw moments.
Yeah, we love it. So for me, I would invest in videography, but it would need to be a specific type. I think I would be sad if I had absolutely no video of Adam and I getting married. But if it was between no video and a cinematic video, I'd probably go no video.
Yeah, I'd probably just pull out my phone.
From a financial
Be like-
perspective, I'd be like, I don't need it.
Yeah. I agree. Again, everything is subjective and everything is what works for the couple. I think we've talked about this before on the pod. I had a wedding video done when I got married years ago. I will say that after I got married, I looked at the video constantly. Like I was consistently just on my phone looking at the video because it was so fun and it was really cool and it was very different from photo. I was not a wedding photographer at the time, not even close. So it was cool. But then I never looked at it again. It's at my email and it's probably still there somewhere in a Vimeo link. But I now going forward, like I want my shit captured on VHS. I want it raw, documented, BTS from a, perspective of somebody who's attending my wedding. Like I also don't want that for photo either. Like for my wedding photos, I don't want like classic portraits throughout the whole thing or whatever. Like I very much want it to be a more creative, artistic, like POV of somebody who's just watching my love story unfold, which is how I try to shoot a lot of the time too. And I think that's why we gravitate toward that style, is because it's just kind of like our go-to in general. But yeah,
and we're really
agree.
privileged as wedding vendors that we've been able to see so many things, and we can go, here's what I like, here's what I don't like. I do feel for couples when they're planning their wedding and you have no idea in the wedding industry, and you maybe book you book a planner because your friend used them 10 years ago and liked them, or you
Did you just You sound like you had a lift.
I'm having a throat. Or I was talking to another wedding vendor who, before she was a wedding vendor, said, I had originally booked a photographer because my friend said, you really should book a photographer. Like, you have to book one who has shot your wedding or your venue before. And she goes, I learned very quickly that's not necessarily the case. Some of the most gorgeous weddings I've ever seen are shot by a photographer who it was their first time at the venue, because they have fresh eyes.
They have a new perspective. They can see things differently. They're not stuck in that same routine of, well, I normally shoot this spot and then this spot and then this spot. Like, it's just different. So I think from the video perspective, like you said, everything is not so black and white. And again, some people just might not want a videographer. It might not be their vibe. They might not care. And that's okay.
Agreed.
Anyway.
Well, that was all we had for you guys. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Now I will say this is audio only, which if you've made it to this part, you'd probably realize that it's audio only. We're going to be dropping a few audio only episodes, just because, honestly, like I said, I'm on the road somewhere, hopefully taking pictures of mountains.
That would be so nice.
In Vegas. fingers crossed, winning millions of dollars
That would
as
also be
as
so
most
nice.
people do
Yeah, in Vegas.
in Vegas.
You know what's crazy? When I was in Vegas for my hair X competition, I saw 2 people die.
Oh my God,
We
we
never talked
did,
about
and we
that.
never talked about that. I shouldn't say
First of all,
we.
I was gonna
I
say.
wasn't. I did not see it. I heard. I was in the midst of the death, but I did not
On
see
the
it.
casino floor, you guys,
Mhm.
on the casino floor, my mom and I literally we stopped and we were like praying for this man because there were paramedics, security, like trying to revive him. It was the saddest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Also, I've worked in healthcare, so like yes, I've been around deceased people before. I've, wheeled people to the morgue, RIP.
Yeah.
So for me, it's very different. Like do still empathize so much with death, obviously, but like
Yeah. You
for
see it as a
other
part
people,
of life.
yes.
Yeah.
For other people who were walking by and were like, "Oh my God," like it was crazy. I was like, "This is so sad." And my mom was like, "Well, well," asking me all these questions because I also did EMT training. So like I'm an emergency medical technician. And I was like,
Could
girl,
never be me.
we gotta go.
We gotta go. Here's what I hope. Okay. I hope that when I go, it's also
On the casino floor.
on the casino floor. I die doing what I love. As long as Adam's right with me. But he has to pass away at the same time. This is so
Or
morbid.
first.
So if you want to like end the episode here, if you're listening, you do you, boo-boo. But last night, Adam and I were just like laying in bed watching Abbott Elementary, sharing a couple scoops of ice cream like we like to do every night because we're 90 years old, apparently.
Same. Craig and I are on a Veep kick. Have you ever watched
Ooh,
Veep?
I love Veep.
I'm
Julia
obsessed with
Louis-Dreyfus
Veep.
is
This
so
is like
fucking funny.
my 4th time watching it, and I
I've
can't.
never seen it.
What?
No, I know what it is, and I've seen like clips, but I've never actually watched Veep. Okay, it's on the list.
Oh my God.
But anyway, so Adam and I are laying there, and I look at him and I say, "I'm gonna need you to I need you to die first because I don't think you could handle if I died first." But I said, "I'm also going to need you to not die in the house." And he stops me and he goes, "First off, what the fuck? What are we talking about right now?"
What?
And I said, "Well, I just had a little bit of a daydream that if I die before you are slowly going to wither away. Like you won't be able to handle it. Whereas like I'm a tough bitch. I can handle anything. Like
Yeah.
I'll move on. Maybe not like romantically, but like I can survive this."
Life goes on.
But I said, if you die in the house, I had a daydream that like I had to call 911 and they came and took you away, your dead body. And I said, I had this daydream of screaming, like choking out the EMTs, like you can't take my husband. You cannot take him. Cause that means it's really happening. He's gone. So I said, if you die in the house, I'm not calling anyone. You're with me until
This is crazy.
I know, but I was like, I can't let you go. It's just like, I'll put you in the freezer so your face will stay the same and I can visit with you every day. And he's looking at me much like you're looking at me right now. Like this bitch has had way too much time to think about this. But I just thought about that. I don't think I could call anybody. I don't think I'd have the strength to have someone take him away. He's got to go
insane.
in the hospital. He's got to go in the hospital because then they can force me to leave the hospital and they take him forcefully. But like if he dies in the house, we're together now.
Your dogs are gonna eat him.
He'll be in the freezer and I'll visit him. And like if
no, that's somebody's gonna call and have you institutionalized.
Also, hopefully this happens when we're
and it's
very
probably
old.
gonna be me.
Anonymous called in and I see it was your name and I'm like, that bitch.
They play the recording of the call and you're like, wait a minute, I know that fucking voice.
You're trying to change it.
I'm like, hello, I have a really important call. I'm really concerned about my friend.
RFK Jr.
Is that who that is?
I think that's his name.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't know.
so right.
Every time I hear his voice, I'm like, okay, swipe.
Okay.
I can't do
Hello, I
this.
have a really important call. I'm really concerned about my friend. She's keeping her husband in a fucking freezer. Like,
if you guys stop seeing pictures of Adam, it's because he's passed. But
he's okay. He's just fucking frozen.
yeah, he's still with me. But can I ask a question? This is so getting off topic. It is what it is, though. Is that
Yes, it's fucking messed up.
But-
That's crazy.
okay? Yeah, the messed up. But let's talk about the legality of it. I'm not like collecting Social Security on his behalf or whatever.
You could.
He passes away, And I'm just like
I would.
so distraught that I don't call anybody.
Oh, Meg, that's worse. That's like so much. Like, you're just a criminal if you're collecting Social Security and burying a body in the backyard. You're a disgusting criminal.
Yeah.
This is like
mentally.
not even like mental illness. Like, I'm concerned, mama. Like, what?
You know what I think is really sweet? I used to work with
No,
a woman.
You can't transition out of this.
I won't. But I used to work with a woman, shout out Aliciana Ruiz, at my old company. And she would always call me mama. And I was just like, oh. So now I'm starting to think it's a Hispanic thing because you're both lean that way. And
it is.
It makes me feel very
especially with like
cute.
little kids, like mamas is like very common with like
That's
little cute little
nice.
babies.
I'm just a cute little baby who keeps my dead husband in the house.
Jesus Christ. I think the only thing that I could never recover from is my dog Baxter dying.
Yeah.
Craig, you know, he's much older than me. He's gonna go first.
Yeah.
Like,
Same with Adam. Like God willing, he goes first.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, I can get through that. He dies in the house. He ain't staying. No. Love you. Keeping pics. I'll keep a lock of your hair in my pocket.
Yeah.
I'll wear your ring around my neck. Like, I will keep every sweatshirt you've ever owned and just live in those motherfuckers.
I think.
But your face in a freezer? No fucking way.
I think that I need hobbies that don't include him because at this point, like, yes, I have the business, but he's my entire life. You know what I mean? Like, you know how that goes where it's like.
This is sounding like codependency.
No. Well, I just mean like, yeah, especially with everything going on. I'm like, we're like side by side the whole day. We go to the gym, we wake up, we have coffee together, we watch Sports Center, we then go to the gym together, we then come home together. Like, I'm like, oh man, I should get out and do something because like if he goes early
that
in
is
life.
the nice thing about like, I will say like I do envision my life, and when I think about my life, I'm always like, I can't imagine Craig not in it because I want to grow old with him and literally. Like we have so much fun together, so I totally get that aspect of it. Of like
energy,
and we were doing errands yesterday, and we're hand holders, and I fucking love holding that man's hand, and just like I would live in his skin, like I would, but I'm not keeping him in the freezer.
I also think there's a difference. So my sister's in the healthcare industry as well, or the industry. She's like an RN. So she sees people croak all the time.
An industry, yeah.
It's like
it is very different.
You see that and like you become accustomed to it. It's not easy,
it's
but you're just
very
used
normalized.
I have never, people are probably going to hear this and they're going to hate me, and that is what it is because I'm sure I'll pay for this later in life. I've never been to a funeral.
Okay.
I've never been super close with someone. Like my grandparents are all still alive.
Okay. So this makes sense then. This makes total sense.
So it's not like I have not had to go through something like that yet.
Correct.
But for any of you listening going, I hate you because you've suffered through things and you've had to see things. Well, don't worry because like
it's coming.
Death's gonna happen.
It's coming.
Now it's just all gonna be condensed and they're all gonna die at the same time. And that'll be hard too.
I hear you and I get that. My grandma died on my fucking birthday and I was in bed with her. So like
oh my God.
I've had some experiences with death. But I knew that was going to happen.
Fair.
I had a angel tell me in my dream she was going to die on my birthday 2 months before she did. And I told everybody that and they thought I was insane.
I would like to call out that Nicole has this
psychic
entire
abilities.
Episode made me feel like a psycho, and then she just showed her psycho cards.
No, that's not crazy. That's like that happens all the time when people are dying. You wouldn't know because you've never had nobody die.
That's true. But I used to believe that I had a bit of a premonition ability when I was in high school.
I think you do, and I think I do too.
I really do because but I'm trying to be a realistic person. I'd like have a dream that I was making out with some guy, and then all of a sudden it would happen a couple weeks later.
You're just like, come here. You're cornering him like, you want to play spin the bottle? It's just the two of you. You're running around the circle to wherever the bottle lands. You're fucking body checking him like, move over there. Guess we got a kiss.
This video so you guys could see me having an absolute like panic attack, but like.
Anyway, we're psychic.
But I also, as an adult, I go, maybe I was just a little promiscuous, and I feel like
Maybe I was just a big fat slut.
I like made those moments happen because I was like, you want to make out?
I want to start this episode by telling everybody to just fast forward through all those fucking facts and just come to this part because this is the funniest shit.
Like we said on another episode, y'all are lucky we talk about anything wedding related because like
This is what we do. We just sit here and we just yap and
I
die.
think we could do this for every episode.
Yeah.
So you're welcome for splitting the difference. We try to give you a little this, little that. You know.
Oh, the
is
other
what it
stuff
is.
we're boring, but this stuff, this is
I
where you see our
know.
true colors.
This is you'll see my true colors.
I'm cutting it off. We're done.
That's fair. Okay. I think we're a little delusional. It's pretty early in the morning. So thank you so much for sharing today
like
with
noon.
us. Because I don't know what
not.
day of the week this is going to be posted on. But we appreciate you guys. We typically are posting episodes every Wednesday and Friday. Apple, Spotify, YouTube.
Make sure you follow along with us on social media. Find us on Instagram at cocktailhour.podcast. The link in our bio is where you can submit all of your stories, grievances, hot takes, and more. And everything is anonymous.
I'm just laughing about everything today. But we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Adam's just in your freezer right now. Bye.
Bye.